POV, you lost your NoFap streak. It's something that has happened to every single man that is on the journey to self-betterment through restricting of earthly, fleshly desires. You have just traded in consistency and discipline for an instant dopamine hit, for quick satisfaction without having to put in any work at all. You received a whole bunch of chemicals that are now giving you the feeling of satisfaction, but that satisfaction is also combined with regret because of the fact that you know that you didn't put in any work in order to feel so good. You didn't put in any work towards going out and having conversations with women, putting yourself out there socially. You didn't put any work into paying for a dinner or the hard, difficult, emotional toll that it takes in order to maintain a healthy relationship dynamic. You just chased the sexual satisfaction, and that's exactly what you got. Instant gratification. Now, there are a couple different things that I want you to remind yourself of. If you are somebody who falls into this place regularly, you are constantly trying to practice NoFap, but you find yourself falling time and time and again, there are things that you should remind yourself of every single day, and we're going to go over those. But before I get into them, I'd like to say my name is Brandon Clark. I'm a natural bodybuilder. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been making videos like this for the past 6 years. Well, they haven't all been this deep and this real, but I try to keep things incredibly real with you guys. I try to talk about the problems that I struggle with and the problems that the modern man struggles with, because not a lot of people want to talk about this stuff. Not a lot of people want to go near this subject. And I think that it leaves a lot of men feeling ashamed and alone inside of their guilt. And they don't really know who to talk to about it. They don't really know what to do in order to make progress on overcoming their sexual desire. And time and again, they find themselves in a worse place in life because they are not able to control their desires. They're making worse decisions in the sexual marketplace. They're also not appreciating women fully. They're starting to objectify women because they're seeing them as objects of their satisfaction. They're pedestalizing women. They're worshiping them like they're some sort of magical creature that's only sole purpose is to bring about the sexual satisfaction of a man, when in reality, that is not the case at all. And I have personally been practicing NoFap for about the past 7 years. And along the way, there have been many periods where I have struggled very, very much in order to stay on top of it, in order to do what I know that I need to do. And to be 100% honest with you guys and transparent, I lost my NoFap streak beginning of last week. It was the first time in months that I had ever had any sort of slip up. I haven't watched porn in a very, very long time. Glory be to God. And I pray that I never watch porn again in my entire life. It's satanic. It's terrible. I despise it with my being, and yet in the past, I have engaged with it. I have had problems with it. And it took me a long time to come to terms with talking about these things publicly. But here I am, sitting in front of you, telling you about my struggles, and thousands of people are probably going to watch this video. That's how much I care that other men out there receive help and receive information and practical tips on how to go about winning in this area of life. I am willing to put myself out there and receive criticism from other people talking about my own private, personal matters because I care about the other guys out there, because I myself have been trapped by this sin. I have been isolated by this sin. I have felt like I was never, ever going to win against this sin. I have felt the despair that comes from losing this battle over and over and over again. And I myself still slip up time to time. And when that happens, it's very important for me to go back and remind myself of some core beliefs that I have. And it's usually when these core beliefs tend to take a back seat and you forget about them that you tend to fall into sexual sin. So let's get into this. Number one of the main things that you have to understand that is going to keep you firm in your struggle is that doing this won't solve the issue. Trying to take it into your hands to bring about your own sexual satisfaction will not help you in the long run. It's not going to make you feel fulfilled. It's not even going to make you feel less lonely. You probably feel some sort of emotion that is ultimately driving you into your sexual sin. Time and time and again, a lot of men will see that it's loneliness that makes them go out of their way to watch something that they shouldn't watch or to engage in an activity that they shouldn't be engaging with outside of marriage. Maybe it's not loneliness, maybe it's bitterness. I've personally felt this before. And when previous relationships have gone awry, I've been incredibly bitter towards a specific person. And I thought that taking my own sexual gratification into my own hands was some way to bring about almost punishing the other person because they were somebody that you pour a lot of sexual energy into. Even if you don't actually have sex with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you still pour sexual energy into them just simply by being around them. And I have felt that bitterness before to lock them out of my head, to keep them out of my thoughts by trying to get rid of my sexual desire completely through masturbation. Now, what you'll quickly realize is that not only does this not solve the problem, it leaves you feeling down, depressed, more lonely, and eventually you will notice that your sexual desires actually get even stronger. When you give into it once, you are more likely to give into it again and again and again. And as time goes on, it becomes more degenerate, and the things that it takes to stimulate you become more intense. So you start to do it more frequently, and you start to engage in more degeneracy in order to bring about your fantasies that continue to get worse and worse. So know that taking things into your own hands is not a fix. In fact, it's a prison. And it's something that you have to remind yourself of. Every single day when you wake up as a man, when you fight this battle, you have to remember this. Like I said, I myself failed my NoFap streak at the beginning of last week. And what I immediately felt was shame, I felt embarrassment, and I felt anger. But what I did was I traced back to where the emotion came from. What was I feeling at the time that made me think that this was okay? For me, it was stress. I was extremely stressed out. I just wanted to relax, but I couldn't. And so I used it in order to cope with the fact that I could not relax with my own stress. I used it to unwind. I tried to take my own sexual desire into my hands in order to give me more power. But in reality, it took power away from me because the past week has been the hardest week in years that I have struggled with sexual desire because of the fact that I gave into it around a week ago. As soon as you give into it, you're more likely to give into it again. You can almost feel your free will slipping away. It's eroding into nothingness. It's becoming harder to choose the right thing, and it's becoming easier to choose the evil thing. So you have to understand that. It's not fixing the problem, it's a prison. And whenever you're in these situations, hand your sexual desire to God. That's what I always try to think about. Hand it to God. Say, God, here is something that I cannot fix myself. If I try to fix it myself, it's going to get worse. It's going to get more intense. I've been down this road before. Please, you take this feeling away from me and give me a woman when the time is right. One of the nights this week, I was seriously struggling to fall asleep because once again, I was stressed. I was working hard. There were a bunch of things that were unknown to me on whether or not or how they were going to go. And I found myself falling right back into that same pattern. And this time, it was 5 times more difficult to say no than the first time that I had failed. My heart rate became so elevated as I was trying to sleep. I was sweating. I was fully awake, trying to unwind before bed, but my heart was just pounding because I was so aroused because I knew that I had recently given into my sexual desire, and my body knew it. My body is sinning against me. My body is starting to become outside of my control. It's almost acting on its own because it wants to relax. And I've given it that relaxation in the form of instant gratification in the past, and now it's going to be even harder for me to continue to choose the right thing in the future. All right. Number 2 is going to be remember that every single time you engage in self-satisfaction of your sexual desire, you are participating in a humiliation ritual. It happens every single time. You think that you're taking power back when in reality, you're actually taking power away from yourself. And what do you feel afterwards? Well, you feel regret and you feel stupid and you feel like a loser because you're all alone by yourself, satisfying yourself without putting any work in when that sexual desire is supposed to be driving you towards somebody. It's supposed to be driving you to be more communal and be able to engage with other people, go out and have conversations with women. That's what that sexual desire is designed to do. But instead, you're fulfilling it all by yourself. Just like that. No struggle needed. It's a humiliation ritual as well in the fact that you are watching somebody else, if you are engaging with porn, you are watching somebody else have sex with a woman that you would like to have sex with. Even if you're not watching porn, you're probably fantasizing in your head, thinking about a reality that is not yours in order to satisfy yourself. It's a reality that's not yours, but you're the one that is getting off to it. That makes it a humiliation ritual, along with all of the feelings that come afterward, because you know that it's not something that's good for you. And you know that that drive is meant to send you towards other people, get you closer with other people, and yet you're abusing it. And you're taking it into your own hands, all right? The devil wants you to think, oh, I'm getting power back. And oh, I'm going to feel so much better right after I'm done with this. Then I'm going to be able to think clearly again. Number 3 is going to be remember this, that although urges will sometimes feel so intense, like you are about to die if you do not get your sexual urge satisfied, the feeling will pass, especially when you go do other things and when you stop letting your mind run amok. This problem starts in the mind. If you do not desexualize your brain, you will find yourself falling into this time and time and again. When you let your fantasies run wild, when you think about things that you shouldn't, when you don't practice thought control, when you don't practice harnessing your thoughts, putting a bridle on them, steering them in the direction that they're supposed to go, towards wholesome things, towards virtuous things. When you let these things take over your mind, when you let your thoughts run wild, you will find it impossible to prevail against this enemy. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Make sure to drop a like down below, as well as a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through this video till the end. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.